Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me on today's drop-in session. We're going to be taking a look at the latest updates around version 20. We're still early days of version 20, so we don't have all the updates that will be coming with this update. But yeah, we're going to take a look what's at the moment being announced, what's the latest around the updates. Try and keep it short and sweet as always. If you've got any questions, drop into the questions box. You should have a little panel on the right hand side of your screen. It'll either say chat or questions. You can drop them in there, and we'll take a look at the end. So during the webinar, if you have any questions at all, get them in, and we'll take a look at them at the end. So what we're going to be covering today, so in terms of the agenda, we're going to be looking at the new admin console and the changes around more the management console and the client, the web client as well. New departments and new security roles are kind of intertwined, where you have a lot more granularity in how you control different security permissions, different users, and really for larger deployments, how you can enable changes in bulk. We've got some changes to the URLs, so we're going to look at how those have sort of been shortened and made a bit simpler, and that's really in part due to the new admin console changes as well. And then we're also going to look at the Windows soft phone and sort of a little bit of talk around the installation side, but it is quite simple to get set up. So, and that is actually available today. Now, it's not yet at the stage of an alpha or beta, although we're not far off. As I said, I mean, we're going to cover some of the features and changes in this webinar, but there's going to be more to come. And when it goes into beta and alpha, I'm sure there'll be more information around that time as well. So in terms of the new admin console, so this is found within the web client now, at least with version 20. So I guess the idea really behind the new admin console is to sort of change or move the older management console from a separate URL essentially. Have everything in one place. So you have it all from the new admin console within the web client. So really this is just allowing you to access all the different features, change all the different settings within one URL or one application. So it's just simplified configuration and management. So you can also see the new department section in this. So we have, as we can see here, we've got admins, we've got sales. You can add multiples. So you've got operations. And these are really interchangeable. So we'll cover this in a little bit, later on the slides. But you can, you can change these and configure them yourself. So you can change them to whatever your client requires. So the current management console will disappear, and it will inevitably be replaced. And it's going to consolidate into one app. So one user must be assigned as the system owner. So before this happens, so it's that person actually changing the permissions to start with. But yeah, we can see on the left here, so we've got the admin console, so we have dashboard, we've got users, all your regular stuff, so your phones, you can change the outbound rules. And obviously this is going to be hidden for, most users unless you have permission. So it's just really allowing, more simple configuration, you're not having to go to different portals or different URLs. So in terms of the departments, so departments are, it just allows for more organization. So they can be configured to have their own set parameters. And so each department can have these uniquely set up. You've got things like holidays, office hours, languages, your time zones, and you can of course set their permissions. So whether an admin, manager, or an owner. So there are plans for other features to be added, different parameters to be added in the future. So I think phone book is one of those. You can edit and sort of configure the phone book, so you can have separate ones for each department if needed. Now, of course, I'm sure there'll be loads of changes and more, additions to this in the future as well. So security roles are a part of this. So as I said, you can have and change the different security permissions of each user. And really, this is part of the department. So the departments are what's sort of the foundation for the new security measures. And it allows for admins to fine-tune user permissions. So you've got greater control over who can see what and who can manage what. And security roles are designed based on the groups to which a user belongs. security roles are assigned based on the group to which a user belongs. So, for example, you could establish a sales department, with its own dedicated admin that can, change the management of the users. You sort of have control over user management. They can control, IVRs or something like that. So, just giving everyone a little bit more control who needs that control. So, because if you imagine the technical department might be able to do more within the system than a sales team. And if you think for larger deployments as well, of course, when you're deploying hundreds or even thousands of users, having a department you can just assign a user to and set their permissions is really, really nice. So in terms of the URLs and the updates around the URL changes, I mean, it's quite simple really, but because now everything is eventually going to be merged into one client, there's not a need for, there's only a need for one FQDN. So we've got an example here where in the past it would have been proview.3cx.com/web client, whereas now it's just going to be proview.3cx.co.uk. So making things just a bit simpler and saving time really, because you're not having to, you need to make a change, you don't have to go into a different portal, or you don't have to log in, with additional details. So the Windows soft phone and installation. So we've got a couple of changes, additions. So there is now a native Windows soft phone, which allows for making calls. You can do video calling, video conferencing, all the usual stuff. So chats, check on the status of a colleague. So from your Windows app, you can see who's do not disturb, who's idle. And this is actually available today. So you can actually just download this from the Windows Store, and that's one of the installation ways. You literally go to the store, download the app. It'll just be called 3CX. Download the app, and then of course just log in with your details. Now, of course, with there's going to be a different way to install it as well down the line. So installation can be done, as I said, just through the Windows app, but they're also going to be you'll be able to provision it directly through the web client. Information on that is a little bit limited at the moment, but I think the idea with that is you can just click a few buttons and it downloads the app for you. It signs you in straight away, so it just makes things a bit easier. We've also got increased security. So deployed via the Windows Store, really it increases security from the outset. So each Windows native app is security checked by Microsoft. So it is thoroughly checked, and you just got that increased security because there's another, Microsoft looking at it as well before the app goes out. And it also means that we can, there are separate updates for the soft phone. So you can have different, or 3CX are able to update the soft phone from the main 3CX build, for better management of the Windows app. So that's it really. So in terms of the updates we've got at the moment, as I said, there will be some more coming down the line when we've got more information, because we're still in alpha. Sorry, we're not even in alpha yet. So we're still in, it's just more of a preview for other features to come. And obviously the big one there, consolidating the management portal or the management console into one client. So are there any questions? I can see there's one that's coming here. Let me just have a look. So there's one here. So when will the new app be available? Well, yeah. I mean, the new app is available straight away, so you can just download it from the Windows Store. Obviously, more features will be coming as and when. In terms of the updates, we don't know exactly when those are coming yet. As I said, we're still in sort of pre-alpha, so there'll be more information made available once we're closer to release. So here's one here. Does the new app steal focus? What exactly do you mean by that? So steal focus in terms of, I guess, development time, perhaps. And I will mention as well, we do actually have there's a ProView Partner Day we've got planned on the 29th of November. So we, come join us. You can get signed up on the main website, or just let me know and I'll ping you over an invite. But we're going to be joined by a few different manufacturers. So there's going to be a couple of presentations in the morning, and then there's going to be some afternoon activities. Don't want to bore you out, with tons of PowerPoints, but a few different manufacturers there. Obviously, people from the manufacturers as well, so you can speak to them directly. And there's going to be a free-flowing bar as well. So, come on, we'll love to see you. Come and join us. So have a look at the questions. Let's have a look. I3CX suggested how long version 18 will be supported once V20 is launched. I don't think there is, they have indicated that at the moment, but that's something I can definitely look into for you. And I can come back to you after the webinar. But I mean, it should be, as I said, because we're still in pre-alpha for this version 20, so it's going to be some time before it's actually fully released. So it should be still, you know, a good amount of time before it's actually unsupported. But I'll confirm, see if I get more information I can get, and I'll come back to you on that one. Will SBC router phone be mandatory, or will we be able to use stun? Yeah, so I mean, stun isn't going, so stun is still very much available, but inevitably the consensus is that it will be being shut down, but we're talking years and years. So the router phones is a good idea to get set up with, especially if you're doing new deployments, to have those, you know, ready and available. So it's not mandatory, but eventually the, you know, stun will be going, and but there's no, it's more just sort of pre-warning really. But we're talking, you know, it's going to be years and years before that actually is, because obviously there's still, you know, loads of people using stun, and it's still very common. But you know, if you're doing new installations, it's just something to think about for potential future changes that come. But yeah, the router phones are not mandatory. So on the current app, you can only add one phone per user. Do you know if it will be able to add multiple phones to one user? That's a good question. Again, that's something I can have a look into, and I can come back to you on that. At the moment, I'm not aware of a change that's going to enable you to add multiple users or multiple phones, sorry, to a user. But it's of course something I can check and come back to you on that. So what about the app for mobile phones? Will that change? So at the moment, there are no sort of, I mean, major changes that I'm aware of. There may be some additions or additional features in version 20 which come at a later date, but at the moment there shouldn't be any changes. I don't see any more questions. So there's one here. Does it have two-factor authentication? I mean, I assume you're talking to the Windows, or in regards to the Windows application. At the moment, I don't believe it does. No. So we'll leave it there for today. But I'll come back to you, Nick, in regards to your questions. I'll give you a call, and we'll go through that. And of course, if I've missed any questions, I'll go through them at the end. Just make sure and reach out to anyone that still has questions. So yeah, thanks for joining, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.